you doing?
Oh, that's the question, isn't it?
It is.
How am I
indeed.
doing?
It is indeed the question.
How are we all doing? How are we doing now that Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Secrets of Dumbledore,
The third
now,
Fantastic Beasts movie.
now
One.
exists.
Yes.
It exists in the world. Should it exist? That's the question, isn't it? So, for our movie of the month, this month, we have decided very unanimously, and I definitely haven't forced Rob to watch it.
I was not being held at gunpoint to watch this film.
You promise, and you've now said it on camera, so it counts. It's on the record. Mm-hmm. But we went to go see Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Secrets of Dumbledore. It's just Secrets of Dumbledore. It's not The Secrets of Dumbledore, is it? Well, it is now. And now we're here to share our opinion with the world.
I should clarify as well, we haven't discussed it with each other just yet.
No.
So we don't know what each other thinks of it.
Yeah, and that's what we'll be getting into today.
So I should probably, you know this already, but for your benefit, something that we often do is when we see a film, we send each other a one-word review. One
word, nothing else.
And we've got to try and glean from that one word how we felt about this film.
And it can be anything. Like, it might be obvious to be like, good, bad, mediocre, but we try to make it a little bit more interesting.
So not knowing what each other think of this film yet.
Yes.
Give us your one-word review.
All right, let's get into it. One-word review. My one-word review is retcon.
Okay, so that's very damning.
Yeah.
That's incredibly damning.
Yes. What's your one-word review?
My one-word review was SWIVEL.
Ah, yes. I think I know what you're referencing. So, let's get into it now. Likes. Why don't you start, Rob? Because your one word seemed much more positive than my one word.
Yes. So I think I have not been as big on the Fantastic Beasts film, the original one, as most people. I know the general narrative is that the first one is the one that everyone kind of liked and the second one no one liked. I didn't like it from the start.
Yeah.
I thought that even from the first film, you know, just it visually was very bland, for lack of a better word. There was no magic in it. I hated all of the characters minus Jacob, but I think that's pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
And I also just found the whole thing to be utterly pointless. You know, second one obviously is a massive shit show. So I went into this third one with the lowest of low expectations, and I kind of then came out of being like, oh, we've risen to competent filmmaking at the very least, in terms of just, you know, in terms of like, just at least at the start, from the first scene, I'm like thinking, ooh, this has got some motivated camera work, and this has got some, you know, kind of more motivated lighting and a bit more motivated direction. And there was a little bit of effort being put in, at least from that first scene. So I would say that I was just enjoying that. That was kind of what I liked. And I still liked Jacob. That's honestly, it's about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Without fleshing it out more.
Well, I'll get into my background.
Yes.
So I am an enormous Harry Potter fan. So when more Wizarding World stuff was going to come out, and that wasn't the play, that was like movies, I was very, very excited. And yeah, the first one, look, it was fine. That's pretty much, I enjoyed it, nothing crazy. Second one was the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. However, this one is better by it's better by 3%.
Can you define like specifics from the film that you actually did like? You know,
I will admit as well, I think the filmmaking was competent. I think David Yates, he knows what he's doing. I mean, he did everything from Order of the Phoenix through to now in terms of film, right? And that includes one of the best Harry Potter films. I agree, Jacob's fun. It's weird to me though, I don't think he's had that much character development since the first one. Is that just me? You know, it's like he hasn't moved beyond magic exists to magic is cool. And that was weird. I will also say I liked Lally. I think her inclusion was weird. The swivel moment, I think we can both speak to. So in terms of what your one-word review was referencing.
Encompassing my single moment of joy from the film.
And that's because it's a funny moment. It is a very funny moment. And it's stupid, but you're enjoying it because, to be honest, That's what these films should have been, the whimsy of the Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's brought down by what is one of the most important parts of any movie, which is the story.
Yeah, no, I think so. But like that, when you say that the story, of course, brings it down, that also in turn brings down the characters and the plot and
Yes.
the thematics. And because a lot of that in this film is just fundamentally broken beyond repair. You know, I think going on 3 movies now, Newt Scamander is the most meaningless and pointless protagonist ever committed to film.
He's not a protagonist. He's not even a whatever the term is for a secondary protagonist. He's barely a supporting actor.
That's
He's a cameo at best.
That's the thing. Like, I guess if this film was being written properly, like, he wouldn't really be featured as a headliner, as the star of the whole series, and you know, the whole thing, like the whole conceit of this franchise, the Fantastic Beasts, hinges on the fact that he's like the magical zoologist. When you look at Dumbledore in the original Harry Potter series, he's got Harry doing his little biddings for him. But you know, I understood, you know, Harry's emotions and Harry's psychology and why the main goal related so strongly to Harry, or why it meant so much to him and what it meant if he failed. I don't feel any of that with Newt, and he's essentially in the same position as Harry. He's doing Dumbledore's tasks for him.
Yeah.
Except I don't, like, why does this weird, like, new zoologist man even care about any of this? I mean, sure, you can care about the world ending or the world getting taken over, but like, it's not interesting.
Let me get into the real reason why ultimately, and I mean, we'll really be able to sum it up with the rating, but why ultimately I didn't like this movie. I hated this movie. And I understand that a big part of the reason is it feels like a personal attack.
Jesus.
And not specifically to me, but to the Harry Potter fandom.
Okay.
And I'll explain why.
This is your Morbius.
This is my Morbius, yes. And unfortunately, we hadn't started this when we saw Morbius but it's all right, Rob. I wouldn't have shown up
for the filming.
It's all right, Rob. It's all right. I'm sure there'll be another one. We can be guaranteed. There might be a sequel, and then we can go see that. But that's besides the point. I think I might have to pay for your ticket to get you there. We'll see. We'll see how we go. But this is why ultimately I had an issue with this movie. This movie was a giant retcon on a lot of what went wrong in the last one, where clearly since the last one came out, there's been a lot of things happening in the world. They've had the time. They've seen the ultimate response, which was, what on earth is happening? None of this makes sense within the lore, within the great Harry Potter world, and just within general storytelling, you know, technique. But I go in, and the entire movie is emotional manipulation of my fandom. The use of the quotes. Oh my God, that was so 2 main quotes being reused that I have been burned into my brain. First one is when Newt Scamander has to tell the German Chancellor, whoever the hell that character was, do what is right, not what is easy, just to be a callback to the Dumbledore line in Harry Potter as a Goblet of Fire.
Didn't Dumbledore tell?
Yes, no, he tells Harry, you'll have to make a decision between doing what I'm paraphrasing because I can't quite remember because I'm so angry, but it's like, you will have to make a choice between what is right and what is easy, right? It's a very important moment. It is right before it really gets dark, or right after it really gets dark in Harry Potter. Then the biggest crime of Grindelwald, ironically enough, is when frickin' Credence is dying and he goes to his dad, who apparently they're totally fine now, you know, years of abandonment that have caused all these issues. Totally fine, guys. It's because he's dying, of course. And he goes to his dad.
Rendering him completely meaningless, by the way, across these 3 films where he's been like the singular bloody MacGuffin.
And he's also died every movie, so he might just come back. Like, I feel nothing towards this character, although, let's be honest, because it's Ezra Miller, might not come back now. But that's besides the point. So he's dying, and he goes to his dad as he's dying against the post. Also, not that we actually see him die, we just see him dying, so I don't know.
He gets lifted up and walked away at the end, so I assume they take him...
Yes, the ultimate method of death.
They take him to Wizard Hospital.
But that happens, and he goes to his dad, did you think about me, or have you ever thought about me, or whatever he says. And then his dad looks at him, Aberforth, young Aberforth, goes, always.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I was in a cinema, so I didn't, because I'm respectful of other people, but I wanted to scream. I was with my friend, and she heard me growl. I growled. I was literally like, at that point, because that is How dare you take that? That is such an important moment in the Snape story, in the Harry Potter story.
And it's reappropriated.
It is literally like the tagline of being a Harry Potter fan is the always. People have it tattooed with the Deathly Hallows on themselves. It's exactly Rise of Skywalker, where so much of the movie was spent trying to retcon all the bad decisions of the last movie, and then you have to rush through the incredibly thin plot at its center.
The whole thing with like Grindelwald being able to tell the future and they needing to confuse him so that he can't tell what's going on, that is not a way to keep, you know, your plot and audience engaged.
You can't mask lazy writing that way.
Yeah, exactly. It was the most blatant, like, we're just going to do whatever the fuck we want. And no one can complain at us because, well, it's supposed to be a nightmare and a mess.
The woman from the last one, who she's apparently the main henchwoman, I don't know what her fucking name is, new guy, don't know what his name is either.
What's also the new guy that's on the good guy team, don't know what the one who was like defecting briefly?
Oh, Zoe Kravitz's brother.
Was that Zoe Kravitz?
That was meant to be Zoe Kravitz's brother.
Was he from the previous movie?
Yeah, he is. I only know this guy, I looked it up afterwards because I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't remember. Like, I remember that there was a guy who was Zoe Kravitz's brother, and that was during that scene when they were in the tomb and they were just shouting their origins at each other.
Yeah.
My favorite scene in cinematic history.
Yeah.
No. So, that guy, like, he just shows up, he gets off the train, he's like, I've got my plan, I got this. He turns himself over to Grindelwald, he's like, I'm a defect to your side. Grindelwald's like, okay, well, how do I know I can trust you? I'm going to erase the memory of you being a good guy or something.
No, he erased memories of his sister.
Yes. Okay,
Which I was like, I didn't realize that's what you did with the pensive thoughts, because I understand that it's like your mind gets too busy, so you take it out, but you still need to remember enough to be able to reference them at a later date.
But
so he would still have some form of memory of his sister.
Yeah, but like the intention in the film was like Grindelwald's like, I'm going to erase that from you so that you don't have any desire to want to kill me or to betray me or whatever. And then I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, how's Inside Man going to, you know, do his big insurrection inside Grindelwald?
We never find out.
Well, no, we do get to a crescendo. Yeah. We get to where I think it's like Newt and one of the other characters, I can't remember.
It would be his brother.
His brother Theseus. They're like surrounded by some Grindelwald supporters, and then dude comes out and he like just kills them all. He's like, right, job done. Was that the only reason that he went and became an inside
was in
man?
Case they got in a pickle.
Was in case they got surrounded by 5 guys so that he could be like, let me rescue you quickly. All right, back to it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what was the point of that?
Because the point of the Grindelwald Dumbledore battle is that it happens in 1945, which so happens to be when World War II ends, right? Yes. So when we're in Germany, I'm like, okay, I see, we're going to see the rise of the fascist wizards, and then this is going to set this up, and then that'll kind of continue in the next movie where it'll be like the Axis versus the Ally wizards. Yes. No, apparently there's an international confederacy of wizards that literally, it's like, why does the Ministry of Magic exist in any way, shape, or form? Because there's an international body, which, by the way, let's talk about the person who supposedly wins this goddamn thing. Oh, did she? Who is she?
Did she have a character or a name or any perspective?
It was like Santos
or
something, but all I know about her is that she stopped Jacob from having the Cruciatus curse performed on him after he had it for like 5 minutes, you know, and then she was like, oh, that's enough. That was her entire character.
So this brings us to the water horse.
The water horse.
All right, so let's
chilling.
Let's get to this horse. So
bloody horse.
Now, I've always assumed, okay, if you've got political candidates, they're probably going to have their followers. You know, you've got.
I mean, they also mentioned that in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he'll go up. Grindelwald will be up for election.
Yeah.
And then he will be people won't vote for him, and then he'll lose. Yeah. That's how it's presented.
Correct.
So this idea of voting exists in the movie.
It exists. There is a democratic system in the Harry Potter world, apparently. Let's also, quick aside, Grindelwald, somehow all of the crimes against him are just thrown out, and then he becomes a political candidate.
Which he was literally in jail the last movie.
Well, how did that happen? It's not like his crimes were unknown. Everyone knew.
Isn't there a country where, like, if you manage to escape from prison, they're like, well, that means you get to stay out. Is
like
it the same as
Bane's Pit.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Bane's Pit.
It's like Bane's Pit. Grindelwald, of course, being evil, wants to sort of make sure that he gets in. So there's a special water horse called a
Chillin. Qilin, which by the way doesn't exist in the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them textbook. It's made up.
Later,
There's hundreds of goddamn creatures that they could have centered this plot around. They made one up because apparently there wasn't enough.
Yes. So this bloody water horse, apparently it has the ability to detect when someone is pure of heart.
Yes.
And in the course of the election, it's the idea that like, okay, they'll put the political candidates on like a line, and then the water horse will like bow to whoever is most pure of heart, and therefore that's who's best to run Wizard World.
Yeah.
And there's some magic hijinks, and Grindelwald has gotten a dead one, except he's bewitched it so that it does what he wants. Which
apparently is a thing you can do.
Apparently, you can reanimate the dead briefly.
Yeah.
So someone tell Harry.
I
know. Of course, he stands there, and it's sort of like you've got all of the political supporters for Grindelwald, like who are basically fascists.
Yeah.
You've got all the political supporters for the other two people. We have no idea. And then I guess people are definitely going to vote for whoever they want to vote for. But then the water horse has been bewitched by Grindelwald to bow to him, therefore tricking everyone to thinking that he's the one that's most pure of heart. And as soon as that happens, it's like all the votes or the potential votes don't matter.
Well, they say it's going to be vote by acclamation, which is a thing that happens.
It does?
Like,
okay.
There's a thing in the papacy where if everyone who is in the voting area, I can't remember the terms, bad Italian, when everyone in the area is compelled to yell out the name of one of the or not yell out, or proclaim the name of one of the candidates by some other power, and it's just this like overwhelming thing that happens, and everyone just says the name, then that person automatically becomes Pope by acclamation. So there's that technicality in the church. So the horse is God. Everybody, water horse is God. Also, we're calling it a water horse. It's a freaking snake horse. I don't even know what it is, man. It's just, I don't know if it actually exists in mythology, and I'm a mythology.
No, I did look it up. It does exist in mythology, but not. I don't know if it's exactly as represented in this film.
Okay. Well, definitely not.
Yeah.
Anyway, point is, he was water horsed to voting, and then they're like, stop! There's another one! And then this other one frickin' decides...
Which is also like in the final act, it's like Newt Scamander has the alive one because they were twins.
Yeah.
And the good guys all have suitcases.
Yeah, which not even, that could take us another half hour.
Yeah, it's like, which suitcase has the horse? The villains are like trying to catch them all.
Yeah. And then it's Bunty all along. Oh, who cares? But,
it was...
then she brings it up and the water horse bows to Dumbledore at first. Bloody Mr. Pure of Heart himself, even though...
Which also is the worst, which is the worst sort of callback, because in the middle of the movie, they even address, they're like, when
Dumbledore,
they've got the water horse and it's like bloody looking at Jacob or whatever, and they're talking about it, and then Dumbledore's saying to Jacob, or someone's explaining to Jacob, it only bows to people who are pure of heart, and it likes you are pure of heart. So I was totally expecting...
I thought Jacob would become the minister or whatever.
Thematically, it makes sense because...
The Muggle is in charge. The Muggle who knows
and
magic
Grindelwald's been trying to get people to hate Muggles, and if everyone sees the water horse bow to the Muggle, then we should love Muggles.
But instead, they just went with the boring Dumbledore's pure of heart, which he's not.
He's
everything
kind of a
about his
douchebag.
history, he's not. He has good intentions, sure, but he's fucked up multiple times in the past and in the future. He fucks up. He's not pure of heart. If pure of heart just means doing things with good intentions, there'd be a lot more candidates.
So Grindelwald has shot his Avada Kedavra at Credence.
Yes.
And then
Dumbledore's like, no!
defends it, but...
Yeah. And then they can fight. But they don't fight in the real world because apparently Grindelwald does care enough. I don't know. Dumbledore takes them to the mirror universe because they lock eyes and they're like, holy shit, we can fight. And I'm there going, oh, maybe we'll get a really cool duel. One of the coolest moments in the entire Harry Potter series is the duel between Dumbledore and Voldemort. And I'm like, well... These are both men in their prime. We don't have a 60-year-old and a 150-year-old this time around. We've got two 40-year-olds or whatever. Yeah. Let's go. 5 minutes, not even.
And then they touch each other's hearts.
And then it stops because apparently when you duel at distance, you naturally get closer to each other and you hit each other in the chest. And even though they're wearing about 10 layers of clothing because they're in England,
they can feel each other's hearts.
They can hear the feel the heartbeats. I can't feel my heartbeat now, and I'm wearing one layer.
Magic heartbeat
the magic
detector
of
in
love,
the hand.
power of love. But anyway, so they do this because that's a thing that we've never seen happen in a duel, but it's a thing that apparently happens. Do this, and then we just hear a boom, 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 and they just stare at each other. And Grindelwald can't take it, and he runs away, and that's the end of the movie.
And I guess then hated this the most. We end the film almost at the exact same emotional thematic point that we ended the previous one with, which is someone coming up to Dumbledore and saying, "Are you going to fight Grindelwald?"
Yeah. So we have our final rating. This is where we will give our ultimate, if you haven't surmised, our ultimate decision on the quality of this movie. Now, we thought it'd be too boring to do a out of 5 letter grade, out of 10 stars, like everyone does. So we thought we would come up with our own scale, like many other reviewers have done in the past. And this is it. The worst level is cold trash. The one above that is hot garbage. Mediocre is socks at Christmas.
Sounds exactly like what it is. You get socks at Christmas. It's functional. It does its job. You're not really thrilled about it though. It's literally, you'll
use them.
It is literally like, this is par.
Yeah. Par. It's par.
It's
when
par.
you're playing a mini golf computer game.
Yeah.
Then we got one above that, which is hot soup.
You like it quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not quite there. Like, it's missing maybe the crunch or something, The crunch is shining treasure.
Yes, so treasure, so it goes without saying, you love this film. Mm-hmm. So that's our rating system.
So on a scale of shining treasure to cold trash, Rob, what would you rate this as?
Considering that there was still some things in it that I was like, okay, I like Jacob. He's got some personality. I like Mads as that character. Jude Law's fun. At least the first half, I was appreciating that it was competently done. I don't think I can go as far as cold trash. It's close to cold trash, but I'm still leaning towards hot garbage.
Cool. I'm cold trash. I'm as cold.
I think we figured
I'm
that
in
out.
space. That's how cold it is.
Yes.
I'm in a black hole of cold trash right now.
But now here comes the interesting part,
Okay.
is that if we get to an impasse where we haven't given the same rating,
yes,
whatever, if I've given it cold trash and if you've given it treasure,
we would go on socks at Christmas.
The film would be officially a socks at Christmas.
However, this is in between the two bottoms, so I guess it's cold trash and a half.
That's a great way to start.
It's warm trash.
It's warm.
It's warm.
So this film, you heard it here first. This film is warm trash.